back to another episode of T&T-Takes. This is an all NBA pod, mostly talking about the Nets and their most recent moves. We'll also get into some playoff battles that could happen. And then, of course, the big debate is who's got the better team, the Brooklyn Nets or the LA Lakers. And then finally, we'll talk about some Ben Simmons rumors. So, I'm sure you heard Nets signed two solid veterans that, what's that face for? Not solid? But two solid veterans that I think that were probably some of the biggest names left.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Left. But not only did we sign Paul Millsap and LaMarcus Aldridge, we traded DeAndre Jordan. Few second rounders, also a trade exception for Sekou Dembuya, young 20-year-old who was drafted just a couple years ago. He's like 6'8", solid defender. Not sure if he's a shooter yet, but hopefully we can work on that. I think he'll probably start off in the G League. But yeah. So what did you think when you first heard the signings?
Well, you guys also got Jahlil Okafor, didn't you?
Yeah, but we'll probably cut him.
See, I'm also on that. I think I should keep Jahlil Okafor.
Well, we had him a few years ago. He was rode the bench. Maybe he can fill the hole that I'm going to talk about later. But I know when we signed those two, you got a little shaky, a little nervous. A little pee in the pants, as the
there was no nervousness about it at all. I still think it was early for Aldridge to come back. It's a heart issue. It's pretty major. I get NBA teams cleared him, but he retired out of the blue. Like literally woke up retired.
Yep.
And now he's saying he's all good to come back. What? Just 4 months after? Something like that? 5 months?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that a little bit. I think that's always a scare. So I mean, hopefully he can return to himself. Maybe he starts off coming off the bench until we know for sure that he's good to go. Start ramping up his minutes slowly. He's got a lot of time to get that conditioning in and really ramp up everything. Maybe he will be ready by that time. But I don't know. I think that him coming off the bench, letting Claxton start anyways, might not be a bad option.
Yeah.
Claxton can run the pick and roll with Hardin and Kyrie, and it's not like we need more scoring out there when they're in the game. If we have a bench of Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, Paul Millsap, and LaMarcus Aldridge, I think that'll be a decent scoring bench. We won't have to worry like last year where as soon as the bench came in, we were outscored. But from last year, when we had LaMarcus, he averaged like 12 points and 5 boards for us. He also he only shot 5 threes, but he shot 80% from 3 for us. So 4 or 5. And then he also shot a good 48% from the field with us. So, I mean, if we can get that out of him, I think that's a win for the minimum. Same thing with Paul Millsap. Last year was kind of a down year. Only averaged 9 points, 5 boards.
He couldn't stay healthy at all last year either.
Oh, yeah, last year it was just, I think it was more last year that he wasn't the starter anymore because Aaron Gordon took his spot.
Well, he was hurt at the beginning of the year. That's the reason why they had to go out and get another power forward.
The beginning, but he ended up playing 56 games, which I think there was only like a 65-game season. But yeah.
See, I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, it did seem like more than that. I mean, I know when I was looking at it, I was kind of surprised because there's only been one season where he's missed 20 or more games. And the rest have been like minimal, like 13 here and 13, 15 there. But mostly it's just been he's been playing 70-plus games a season.
Yeah, he's just been downhill.
He's gone downhill recently. Mostly last year, when he averaged 9-5, shot 47% from the field, but only 34 from 3. So that's kind of we're hoping that he can go back to like 2 years ago, where he averaged 11 and 5, 48% shooting and 44 or 43% from 3. That's basically what Jeff Green gave us this past season. So if he can go back to that, where he had, I mean, that was only 2 years ago. If he can do, maybe that came from the bubble a little bit, but if he can do that from having those stars around him, we can. I mean, he might be able to bump that back up to a 40% at least.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I like the signings, though. I think that it's something that we needed. We need a little bit more depth at the big man position. Still leaves a hole, like the rebounding. That big body rebounder was kind of a problem for us. And I think it's still going to be a problem this year. But Maybe Claxton beefed up. Maybe Claxton can start grabbing a good 9 boards a game. I doubt it. But yeah. The other hole that we have is still that wing defender too. Bruce Brown can guard really well. And then supposedly Sekou Dembuya can guard a little bit, but I don't trust him yet. He's probably going to start off in the G League anyways, like I was saying. But yeah, I think there's only one thing left for the Nets to do this offseason, though. And that's extend Kyrie and extend James Harden. And then I think the offseason's over.
Mm-hmm.
So once we do that, then I'll feel pretty confident about this team for probably the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Current roster's at 18. I think 2 to 3 might get sent down to the G League.
Mm-hmm.
Jahlil Okafor maybe gets cut. What you thinking of him? You think he's got a solid role in the Nets?
I personally think he would because he's a big center who can rebound and shot block. That's what he did for when he played for the Pelicans. He came in, he got boards, which I think that's what you guys need. I'd find a way to keep him on the roster.
We also have Day'Ron Sharp, who we drafted. He's a rookie. He's supposed to be that big body rebounder, but I think Jahlil Okafor is like 7 foot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that guy's only like 6'9", Day'Ron Sharp. So I don't know how much hope we have for him. He might be one of the guys sent down to the G League. But we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the biggest threats in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the champions, the Bucks, somewhat of a threat. Not scared of them, though. We literally probably would have beat them in 4 to 5 with everyone healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm really not afraid of the Bucks. I'm not afraid of anybody with a fully healthy Nets, but there is a team that I think is a little bit tougher in the East than the Bucks, and that is your Miami Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you see it? You think there's the second best team in the East?
Yeah, I think it's between us, the Bucks, and you guys.
I do too.
And I feel
Philly's
that
in kind of a mess right now.
Yeah, but I feel like the signings we did, going on getting I think we went defense heavy, in my opinion, for everybody, and that was a big thing we needed because we knew once we lost out on the stars, get defense who can guard the stars, and I think that's what we did.
Yeah, I was breaking down the rosters here. Lowry versus Hardin. Obviously, Harden's better, but Lowry always pisses me off. The last however many years he's been on the Raptors, he's just been one of those guys that just annoy me with his taking charges, his hitting big shots, scoring like 20-something points, just not missing threes, and you're like, damn, this guy. Every time we play him. But obviously, like I said, the matchup Lowry-Harden, Harden's the better one. You go Oladipo and Kyrie. Oladipo hasn't proven anything in a few years now. I'm definitely going Kyrie over that. Durant and Butler. I'm going to go Durant on that one. And then who do you have at your guys' 4? Do you have PJ? You got Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson's way too small to play for. It's PJ.
So you got Duncan Robinson off the bench.
Well, it's going to be Victor Oladipo off the bench, so he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, they might Butler keep off the bench because we don't have a true point guard, and Victor Oladipo's played point guard for the Magic and the Pacers, so I think Victor Oladipo's on the bench in general.
Yeah, I got PJ anyways. Yeah, I think that's smarter anyways because when I was looking at the bench, I was like, your bench has a lot of bigger guys anyways, like Akapala or whatever his name is. And you got Deadman, and I was like, you throw PJ in that mix, that kind of gives you too many big guys. So, yeah, I like that. I have Duncan at the 2 or 3 and Butler at the 2 or 3, whichever. I mean, it'll be Duncan at guarding the 2s, and it'll be Butler guarding the 3s. But on offense, it'll probably be not like it matters. But so who do you have your bench as then? Oladipo, Hero.
Right now, our bench is we don't ever run a full 5-man bench. We've always ran 3 to 4. Yeah. But if I had to put our 5, I'd put Victor Oladipo, I'd put Tyler Hero, and then I would put either Okpala or Struss. Right now, I'm leaning towards Struss over Okpala because he's a 3-point shooter. He's kind of like a Joe Harris, iffy on defense, but mainly a 3-point shooter.
Is he a rookie?
And then, no, we had him last year. He was mainly in the G League. He's been in the league for like 2 or 3 years now, but he did really good over the summer. And then our 4 is Markieff Morris, and our 5 is Dedmon.
Okay, yeah, Markieff was another one that I saw on there. I'd probably put Markieff at the 4 for sure, especially if you're starting PJ.
I'm just not a fan of Akball anymore. Even in the summer, he didn't do good in the summer league or anything like that. I think he really lost his chance with minutes.
I saw Gabe Vincent hasn't been doing bad.
No, he's been doing really good.
He'll be the point guard until Victor Oladipo's healthy.
Okay. And then another one who I want to look out for is Omer Yurtseven. But they said he might make the G League, but summer league he averaged. I know it's summer league, but he still averaged 24 and 13, and he shot like threes a game, something like that. And he's 7'2", so I'm like, that's a big guy who can shoot.
Yeah. So if you were not really devising a game plan, but thinking about how do you beat the Nets with that Heat roster, what do you think the keys are going to be? Because for me, in a 7-game series, if you guys are trying to, I wouldn't really focus on, okay, let's outscore them because that's never going to happen. And so you guys built the team to kind of try and just out-defend us. Just play defense that leads the offense, lock down as many people as possible. It's hard to lock down those big three, but that's what I see with your guys' roster, especially with PJ Tucker. Then you got Lowry on probably Kyrie. You got Butler on Hardin, and you got PJ on Durant, like he was all Milwaukee series. But then you got to kind of hope that Duncan can hold his own against either Aldridge, Claxton, Blake, or Millsap.
See, Aldridge pretty quick, like side to side. So I don't really see an issue there. It's him getting bullied because he's not the strongest.
Yeah.
But then again, your bigs aren't really rebounding bigs. So
that's what I'm saying. If it's Millsap, he might get bullied.
Yeah.
If it's Blake, he probably will get bullied.
Yeah.
But if it's Claxton, he might have a chance. I mean, Claxton's quick, but Claxton's not going to dribble. Aldridge probably won't dribble much, but Aldridge will hit him with that fade and post up all day long. But our problem is going to be stopping Bam.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, stopping anybody really because our defense isn't that great. But
I think the hardest thing for you guys against us is Bam or the pick and roll in general.
Yeah.
Because we can do pick and pops all day. We were doing pick and pops with Duncan Robinson setting the screens, and people weren't following Duncan to the three-point line.
It's going to be really hard for us to defend the shooting and then the size that you guys have. But like I said, if it's just a scoring battle, we'll still end up taking that. Yeah. That's not what you guys are mostly going for. You guys are using that size and that strength on the defensive side as well. So that's where I see it being a good series. Still got the Nets in 5, but still think it's going to be a close series for at least a couple of games. So do you think that you guys have built a good enough roster to take out not only the Nets, but anybody in the league?
See, I think we actually have, because Jimmy Butler has proven to be a leader. And I think they built around him, like people who are dogs, people who are going to go out and fight and actually play team basketball, like what the Heat do. And on defense, if we rotate, that's all that's really going to matter for us, because Bam can guard anybody, PJ can guard anybody. Our biggest issue, like you said, is Robinson. The Victor Oladipo healthy. Victor Oladipo was a proven defensive guard too. So if that's our front five with all defensive guys, I don't have an issue with really anything. Yeah, Durant can score, Hardin can score, Kyrie can score. They're all like video game guys. They can score wherever they want. But there's going to be times where they have bad nights, and it's going to be Lowry getting in their face, Jimmy Butler getting at them. Like, our guys will, like you said, you hate Lowry. I hated Lowry.
PJ
it's going to be a lot of, like, knick-knack things.
Yeah, PJ would do the same shit. So, yeah, I think that you guys will fight hard. Nothing's going to be easy for either team. But, yeah, I think that is my Eastern Conference matchup, honestly. Depending on what the seeding looks like, if you have any injuries during the season and somebody drops, it'd be awful for you guys to drop to, like, I mean, I don't know if I don't think it's possible, but if you guys ended up dropping to the 6th seed again, and us having to play first, second round, depending on where we're at, that would suck. But I'm hoping this is the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. So let's just move on from that. Let's assume the Nets take that. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to talk Nets and Lakers real quick. I know it's a big discussion on everybody all over the social media world. Nets depth versus Lakers depth. I'm going whole roster because, I mean, even the big three, if you take them out or you have them in, it's probably the same thing. I think that the Nets team is still better. But let's just go with what everybody's saying. Take out the big three. Who's got the better players around those big three?
Let me look at the Lakers' whole roster real quick.
Because if
do you have it down real quick or?
Yeah, I have the rosters down.
All right.
I can name off who the
I
Lakers
got you.
have.
I got it right now.
Okay.
All right, no big three. So they got.
So if you're just looking at, let me just say it so then everybody else can see too. So if you're just looking at Wayne Ellington, Carmelo Anthony, Rajon Rondo, Marc Gasol, Dwight Howard, Taylor Horton Tucker, Malik Monk, DeAndre Jordan. And I don't know if they still have Ben McLemore, but I don't think so.
No, they have Ken Bazemore, Ariza, and Kendrick
And
Nunn.
Ariza, yeah, and Kendrick Nunn.
I don't know. It's
so you see those 10, and
to me,
then
there's
you look
matchups
at
that go both ways.
Kind of. I think that they have probably more space, like shooters, but I just see so many of those old guys.
Have more rebounding than the Nets do.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to play DeAndre Jordan though, and there's no reason for those rebounders like Dwight Howard, DeAndre, or even Marc Gasol to be in the game against us, because that pick and roll with anybody.
I think Dwight still will, because only so much Anthony Davis can do as a 5. If they do that,
the biggest thing though is if we're running Blake and Aldridge at the 4 and the 5. I mean, they probably can run a Dwight out there. He can probably move with Blake. But if you change it up to where, I mean, Bruce Brown's out there running like almost a 4, and then a Millsap at the 5, I think that it'll be tough for them to run with a Dwight or even a DeAndre or a Mark.
Yeah, but that's why I see Davis at the 5, and either Horton Tucker, Bazemore, Ariza, Carmelo, someone at the 4. I can see it going either way. Like, I do like some of the Lakers pieces. I do like some of the Nets pieces, but I do think the Nets right now have a little bit more better roster because, like we said last year, we thought Marc Gasol was going to be a big factor, and he's washed.
So let's just look at the 4th best player on each team. Who do you think is the 4th best player on the Lakers? You're going with Melo?
Yeah, I'm going Melo.
Okay, so who's better, Melo or Joe Harris?
That's tough. Because they're both
right now, Melo cannot shoot like Joe Harris.
No, he can't. But Melo can
They're
play
both not
all
defenders.
Around, but he can play all around game. I think he has a better mid range, better in the post. He can rebound better. Like, I think all around, I'd still put Carmelo or Joe Harris.
Okay.
The only thing Joe Harris has is a 10 times better shot. Joe Harris is gonna knock down everything when he's on.
Yeah. So okay, well, I mean, so like you were saying a little bit, I mean,
I compare like Melo and Blake together. Like,
we can compare that. So who do you compare Joe Harris with? Trevor Ariza?
They don't have a 4. They don't have a 4 with Joe Harris. Lakers don't have a 4th person like a Joe Harris type person because Joe Harris is a starting caliber player.
Yeah.
If I had to put someone, maybe Malik Monk when he's on, he's solid. He did good for the Hornets when he was good.
I think Horton Tucker could make an improvement this year and be up there.
Yeah.
Still not shooting wise.
Yeah.
Because that dude's not a shooter like that, but
he's 20, so he has a lot to give to him.
He has a lot of potential. But yeah, let's look at the 5th best guy, which I'd say Aldridge. Yeah. I mean, let's just say Aldridge is what he was before he had the condition that made him retire. He pairs up with probably. I mean, it's just tough looking at this Laker roster. I don't see the depth as the Nets' depth. I mean, if you throw him in there at Dwight, I think it's obvious that Aldridge is better than Dwight. Not pure rebounding, but
offense, Aldridge is better. Defense, Dwight's better. Like, I don't know. Maybe like some of the pieces I see that they went up against each other. Like, maybe the Lakers went out and got guys to compete against the Nets who they have on their roster. Like, they saw you guys had Aldridge. Like, you guys were running for Aldridge. Like, well, we need a guy who can play defense and get boards. Like, we need wings who can keep up with Joe Harris on defense and Bruce Brown. Like, I could see that. But I do wish the Lakers went a little bit younger on some spots because they
they went pretty old.
We said that their depth was solid last year, and it was awful.
It ended up being bad. And it was – I think that their depth last year before the whole season, I would have taken that depth over this depth.
See, I don't know. I think it's kind of the same
before the season started. But now this season, obviously, after seeing how everybody performed, I'm taking this depth because that depth ended up being awful. Because I think Harrell's better than any center they have on the roster now.
But Harrell played awful for them.
Harrell played awful. I'm not saying that, but before the season, definitely would have said Harrell was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it'll be a good series, though. If this ends up being the championship series, who do you got in a 7-game series?
All healthy, barring no injuries.
I think it's Brooklyn Nets team healthy.
It's too tough. The Lakers don't have the defense and speed to keep up with Durant and all them. I don't see it. They have Bazemore, they have Ariza, but none of them can stop Durant.
I think that a series against the Heat would probably give us more issues than a series against the Lakers.
I think whoever wins the Nets and Heat thing wins the championship. If that comes down to Eastern Conference Finals, I think they win the championship.
So a Heat-Lakers finals, I think, would be a really close finals.
I think it'd be closer, but our bench is 10 times better than that bench all around, in my opinion. Our defense in general their offensive power isn't that strong. Like Bam's held his own against Anthony Davis, and then PJ Tucker's held his own against LeBron at times. I'm not saying he's going to stop him. Of course, you're not going to stop LeBron. No one is. Yeah. But like with the Nets, we built a team with defense who can stop star power offenses, or at least slow them down.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close matchup. I think those three are the top three in my opinion. I think you can throw the Bucks in at 4, but in the West, who do you think has a chance of stopping the Lakers?
See, the Clippers are always going to be up there. They're always going to talk about.
If Kawhi's ready to go, whenever Kawhi.
But
so I mean, I don't know how long. I don't know what about Kawhi's issue, how long he's going to be out. But I'd have them up there when he's healthy. So other than that, I think the Nuggets with the healthy Murray, Michael Porter getting another year in, I think that they could be a threat. And then also the Golden State Warriors with Clay coming back.
That was my next one. If Clay is back and healthy, Warriors have a really good threat to make the finals again.
Yeah, and so I think it's more of a lock for the Nets to win the East than even it is for the Lakers to win the West.
I think the Final Four teams is going to be Warriors, Lakers, Heat, Nets.
Wouldn't that be a conference finals, man?
And even in that case, I could really see the Warriors make it to the finals.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd probably be, in my opinion, my favorite Western East Conference finals ever.
Yeah, ever, exactly. And comparing that to one of the worst that we just watched. It was Bucks and Hawks and Suns and injured Clippers. It was a bore. I think that would make for a great viewing. Everybody would probably be watching that. But yeah, if it was up to me, I mean, I just don't think that anybody's beating a healthy Nets team. But you never know. We'll see what happens. So move on to the last topic here. Ben Simmons trade rumors. He already says he wants out. I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen eventually.
He said he's not playing at all for the 76ers, so it's just them right now.
Yeah. So we'll start off with the two pieces that we've already mentioned before, and then I'll go on to some things that I've heard, and then you can kind of go on maybe some ideas that you would like to see or maybe think of. So, I mean, we've already talked about D'Angelo. I think we more talked with him about Porzingis-ish or something like that. We talked somewhere around there. But I think D'Angelo for Simmons, maybe we did talk about him for Simmons. But
we did.
I think D'Angelo and Simmons would be a good swap still. And then the other one, obvious, CJ McCollum. We've seen that swap everywhere too. So a new one that I was thinking of that I think might actually fit a little bit is the Memphis Grizzlies. They would have to give up a decent young guy. I mean, they're definitely going to give up.
Jr. is going to have to go.
Yeah, I was thinking Jaren Jackson and Dylan Brooks.
Yeah. They have some picks they can throw into.
Whatever money needs to fit, maybe you get rid of that Steven Adams contract, or his contract again, and they can give you Drummond's weak, low contract, because you're not going to want Embiid, Drummond, and Steven Adams. So Drummond will probably have to go on the deal too. But
I don't know. I guess they're buying out Steven Adams in general too.
Maybe. But yeah, I could see something like that. The other teams I saw, maybe Indiana, Brogdon and Warren or something. Maybe the Sacramento Kings with Buddy Hield, but they'd have to give up Halliburton probably. Tyrese Halliburton, just because he's a young guy. He was one of the Rookie of the Year candidates. And they get.
I don't know if I'm them.
So
I'm
they get a
fighting
point
every
guard
way
and a
because they
shooting guard out of
got.
that.
They just drafted some really good rookie point guard who's like really defensive minded. I could see him getting thrown there instead of Halliburton. If I'm the King, I'm trying to keep Halliburton if anything's possible.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Davion Mitchell.
Yeah.
I know he is a guard, and he's short, but he looks really good defensively. I don't know what they'll do.
They said he's basically like a more athletic Beverly. Like he's going to get in your face. He's going to play hard defense.
I know. I was watching it in summer league. He was D'ing people up. But yeah, I'm sure that they're going to have to give up something for Ben Simmons. I know Buddy Hield's not going to be it. They're not going to just be like, oh yeah, Buddy Hield, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last team that everybody's been discussing is the Warriors.
See, Warriors already said they're out of it.
Okay.
They already said they're not going to trade for him. Did you hear what they asked for?
No.
They said they want Clay only. Clay straight up, and they said no.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be. They're going to have to mark down their price a lot.
Asking price is up here when it's not. It doesn't.
Well,
it can't
Simmons'
be up there.
price. All right, so his price was here. The Daryl Morey wanted everything here.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's saying he's leaving for sure and he wants dealt, he's not going to play. That brings his asking price down here. You can't leave that thing even close to here. It's gotta go way down.
Yeah.
One weird one that I saw was from Chris Broussard. He said that the Nuggets should get rid of Michael Porter Jr. for Ben Simmons. And I was like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Michael Porter Jr. has too much offensive upside.
That's what I'm saying. He's got way too much potential. You could be giving up Kevin Durant basically.
You pair up Gary Harris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, and picks. Maybe throw Ben Simmons at the 4, like a Draymond Green type.
Yeah, I'm sure the Sixers would love that deal.
Hey, that's the asking price that's going down right now.
Yeah, I know it is. But what's crazy to me about that Michael Porter Jr. thing is that obviously it helps the Nuggets defensively, but that is it. Like, it doesn't help. It makes their offense worse.
Yeah.
Because Murray is a good offensive weapon. Jokic is a good offensive weapon. But having that third offensive weapon is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's Simmons, it's easier to sag off and let him shoot.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Sixers would be fine with that offer.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the best offer they could get. Did you have any ideas of where he could go?
Yes, I actually have one. I saw it on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I was going to bring it up because I knew we were going to talk about Ben Simmons sooner or later. And this trade, in my opinion, actually fits both teams because of the space that this team has and involves the Cavaliers. I could see Sexton and Love and a first because I know Sexton wants out. He's basically said he wants out because they drafted back-to-back years of point guards. And they said that they're going to build around Garland. He's the future of them. You give those two and a first for, let's say, Ben Simmons and Danny Green. Even out the money with Kevin Love thrown in there. Healthy Kevin Love, space the floor with Embiid. Proven young point guard who can score, and Sexton who's not going to clog the paint. And then you give Ben Simmons the keys to the Cavaliers with Garland. They have Allen. They'd have him. And they have a couple other young guys that they've had over the years. That's a pretty solid young team in general.
Yeah, something that hasn't been talked about. Well, so what was I going to ask you first? If you're the Cavs, are you building – would you rather – not saying that they haven't said anything or anything like that, but would you rather build around Sexton or Garland?
See, I like Sexton more.
Me too. I like Sexton more too.
I don't know why they want to build around Garland over him because they're both almost the same age. Sexton's 22, Garland's 21.
So I was thinking about – I think I saw this somewhere too. It was Cavs deal, but it was involving Garland instead of Sexton. So it was Garland and because if you're getting back Ben Simmons and you're just going to put him as a big, you're kind of eliminating his playmaking role.
See, I would personally put him like a LeBron type, maybe the play on defensive 4, but let him control the offense.
Exactly. I mean, even on offense, he can play a 4 at times. Mm-hmm. And this is why I was going to bring up the next one. I'll explain it in a second. But on offense, he can play the 4 at times. I just think that he has to be able to use that playmaking somewhat. So he still needs to be able to run the pick and roll occasionally. But if he's going to play that, so he needs to run more of the Draymond Green role, where Draymond Green brings the ball up sometimes. Draymond Green dribbles, but Draymond Green's more looking to hand off and pick.
That's why I think the Cavs are solid because they got Mobley, they got Markkanen, they got Jarrett Allen, they have guys who can do the pick and roll. And it's a young team. I think right now, in my opinion, if you can get Sexton and Love out of it, and maybe a pick, I think it's a win for the 76ers.
Yeah, you can have a point guard, you can have a big that can space the floor, you have the center. Yeah, I think that it doesn't put them in the top 3 at least in the East anymore.
But it definitely gets them closer to being the top than what they are right now.
The one that I have thought about that hasn't been brought up very much is just a Ben Simmons for Porzingis swap.
I thought about that, yeah.
Maybe they throw in, Trey Burke, or they make it a 3-team deal where they get rid of Brunson and then also get Goran Dragic like they wanted, and then they can have Dragic off the bench. But I think Simmons could run that Draymond role with Luka.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really nice pairing.
They can both run the floor on fast breaks. Of course, Luka would be the main ball handler, but Ben Simmons can handle the ball, screen for him, rebound. He rebounds better than Porzingis anyways. Yeah, exactly. You have Ben Simmons' defense. So I don't think that'd be a bad option. You just put Ben Simmons at the 3 or 4, and then you have him and Moses Brown, 2 young guys that you guys can build up. Yep. You got Luka, who's young, and then you just run with Tim Hardaway and maybe
right now the rumor is
or maybe a 3 or 4.
The rumor is Goran Dragic is going to get bought out before the season starts, and the Mavs. He's going to the Mavs. I assume no matter what opening tip off, he's a Maverick.
So I guess you could start Dragic, and you could do Doncic, Dragic, Tim Hardaway, Ben Simmons, and Moses Brown, and that's a better lineup than what they had last year.
That's all.
My only question with them is why do they have Moses Brown, Boban Marjanovic, Dwight Powell, and Willie Cauley-Stein? Those would probably go on the deal. One of those 3 for sure would go on the deal to fucking.
If I'm them, I'm keeping Moses Brown if I can.
He's Moses the best Brown, I think, is a must keep. You got to keep the young potential guy over Dwight Powell, who has never proven anything. And Boban can just ride the bench whenever you need a big body in there. You can throw him out there. But I think that you have to keep Moses Brown. Moses Brown needs to be their starting center, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did good for the Thunder. I was shocked he's thrown around twice already.
I know, huh? I don't. And
the Celtics needed a center, so I don't see the big reason why they got rid of him.
I like Robert Williams. I think Robert Williams is better than Moses Brown right now.
But, I'm the opposite. I think right now, Moses Brown's better than Robert Williams.
I just like Robert Williams. I think that they both aren't shooters or anything, but I like Robert Williams' defense and what he brings. I don't know. Maybe we'll see in a few years.
Robert Williams kind of reminds me like a Kenneth Faried. Not a big center, but he'll get rebounds.
Yeah, except he can move better than Faried. Faried couldn't guard anybody outside of the paint. Robert Williams was blocking Kyrie's threes and had like a 7-block game.
Yeah, 7 or 8 blocks
in the playoffs. Yeah, but that was another one though I was thinking about too. Ben Simmons for Jalen Brown.
I know that's been tossed around a lot, but I've heard a lot of people say, even Celtics fans, that a lot of them think right now Jalen Brown's better than Jason Tatum. They think that Jason Tatum hasn't really proved as much as Jalen Brown has, which I'm the opposite. I think Jason Tatum's better than Jalen Brown.
I think Jason Tatum's going to prove that I think in a few years he might be an MVP candidate.
But I don't know.
50 points in a playoff game.
That's tough. I think it'd fit both teams perfect. That'd probably be the best 1-for-1 swap you can get.
Yeah, exactly. If both teams are willing, I think. It doesn't. I don't think
who's the point guard now for the Celtics?
Schroeder.
Oh, yeah. They need a point guard.
They need somebody that can handle the ball a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think that Tatum's scoring could eliminate Simmons' non-scoring. But then you might need to get a 5 that can shoot a little bit because it's tough to just have a guy back in the paint with a guy that can only score in the paint. What do you think? What are the odds that Ben Simmons comes out and starts shooting threes this year?
I would love to see him go to a new team and then start shooting threes. I would love it.
That'd be pretty funny. He just starts hitting threes. But yeah, if you were the Sixers right now, what deal do you think you could do, and what do you think you would do right now with Simmons?
Right now, the ones that have been talked about. I personally, in my opinion, I like the Cavaliers trade the most.
Okay, I think both teams get kind of what they want out of it. Kind of, I think that what I would like to see happen, I like that Mavs deal. I think that'd be fun to see.
I just don't think Porzingis is enough for Ben Simmons because Porzingis, him and Embiid, you don't know what they're gonna do.
If you get Jalen Brunson with it, and then maybe a few second rounders.
Brunson a couple seconds and Porzingis for Ben Simmons.
Brunson can be probably their backup still. I think either Maxey or Shake Milton will probably be their point guard if those two are re-signed. I think they are. So hard to keep up with all these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then they still got Thibault off the bench. They still have defense. I think they
still got Seth Curry. Still got Danny Green.
I think they'd be all right. I think that Brunson would help them with scoring off the bench and everything. But yeah. So yeah, that's all I got. You got anything in the NBA? You hear about any rumors or any news?
I haven't really seen much. It really hasn't been much basketball talk. I've been just paying pretty much attention to
think
football.
Everybody's getting ready for training camps. Yeah. Tomorrow's first day of football.
It's back, finally.
Hell yeah.
I've been trying to work a deal in fantasy for Hurts.
I've been too.
He rejects all of them.
Hold on. We're in the NBA pod right there. We'll get a NFL one to you next week. We'll post them, the NFL and the NBA, probably tomorrow before the game. See you later.